What is up, everyone? We are coming up on NAKO, and we have some frequently asked questions that we wanted to address in this video here. So let's jump into it and let's tackle these questions. Now, the main concepts that we're going to be talking about in this video kind of revolve around Cantegrity. What is Cantegrity? Cantegrity is simply integrity, playing with your own sense of respect and honor for the techniques and the rules of the game, meaning that if the kendama at any point touches your hand or touches your clothes or your body, that the trick does not count. Now, what I mean by that is if we are in lighthouse and the kendama touches your hand, that does not count. The judge will say that is a miss, but we also would love it if you call yourself out on it, and it makes it easier for everyone. Another trick that this could come up in is frying pan. Let's say the ball lands in frying pan but rolls a little bit, touches your finger, and then settles back in. The judge may not have seen that. Even though they're looking for it, it's up for you to be honest and say, oh, it touched my hand. So to recap, if the kendama touches your hand at any point, or the tama touches your hand at any point when it's not specified to do so, that would be counted as a miss. On another note of Cantegrity, you're not allowed to move the string. If the string is wrapped up in some weird position, you have to play it as it lies. You cannot take your other hand to move the string and unwrap the kendama. Now, on that note, you can actually blow the string out of the way as long as you're not using your hand to do the motion. Sometimes that can be a helpful strategy to get the string off of your finger, as long as you don't use your other hand to do so. One last note on this, you are not allowed to bunny hop the ball into a different position to set yourself up for a better spike. You have to play it as it lies. Now, you can move your kendama hand if you are in lighthouse or lunar, but if we are in a cup position like Ken grip, Sara grip, or candlestick grip, you are not allowed to bunny hop the ball around. Now we're going to jump into some more of the specific questions that we have and just some of the more guideline rules that we have for the event. Now, when you're doing your tricks, we want you to show and demonstrate that you have control over your trick. Sometimes it can get a little sketchy, and that's okay. But what we mean specifically for this first section, stalls. We want you to make sure that your stalls are nice and secure before you move on to the next part. We're not asking that you hold it there for 3 seconds or anything, but just show us that you have some control before moving on to the next portion of the trick. Ufos is a classic trick that gets called out by judges all the time because players are not keeping their kendama flat and horizontal like the trick wants it to be. So we give about a 15 to 20 degree angle of error from keeping it perfectly flat. We just ask that you try to really focus on keeping your Ufos nice and flat, just like so. Down spikes and stump planes. To be clear, down spikes and stump planes must be spiked from a totally flat position or steeper. So anywhere in the 180 degree plane here of horizontal and steeper is okay. Anything below that line is a miss. If I spike my kendama just like this and follow it through, that will not count. If I spike it just like this and follow it through, that will not count. Same thing with the stump plane. If I go for the stump plane and it's kind of rotating too much and I spike it like this, that is not a stump plane. It must be horizontal or steeper. Instas. The name Insta is just short for instant. We want to make sure that our instas are nice and crisp, nice and quick. You can control them a little bit. There's a little bit of that gray area. I'm not going to tell you how many milliseconds that it must be, but keep your instas nice and crisp, nice and clean. If you're dragging them out a little bit too long, you might get called out on it. So just keep it crisp, keep it clean. Candlestick position. Make sure that you are only holding the kendama just by the spike. If for whatever reason you do the trick in the higher level divisions where you have to flip the kendama and catch it back in candle, if you catch it with your hands on the cups, as long as you are able to move your fingers off of the cups and maneuver it only onto the spike by the time the ball touches the cup, you're okay. But your fingers may only be touching the spike when the ball touches the cup in that exact instant. Another very common question is, can I flip in, or can I swing up, or can I one turn up? The answer is, if it doesn't specify, then more than likely you can. Now, for example, lighthouse in is a very common trick. You can either do a one turn up to lighthouse, or you can just do a pull up to lighthouse. It says in. Now, what in means is you can either fall in like so, or you could flip in if you wanted to. But we want you to keep the grip the same. So we don't want you to trade spike in that position just in. Another trick example is bird. You can swing up to bird or you can pull to bird. Now for over the valley, it doesn't specify. You could flip over the valley if you wanted to, or you could just hop over the valley. For in, you could drop in or you could flip in. You have a little bit of freedom with those choices, and if you have any really specific questions, just be sure and ask us about the trick. We'll also be doing all of this information live before the event. Another common question that has come up is when it says trade spike, can I do a trade down spike? And the answer is no. Unless it specifically says trade down spike, you must do a regular trade spike. Likely, the grip will be in Ken grip. SAR grip is usually when we go for the trade down spike, and I don't think there's any tricks that are a trade SAR grip spike that isn't a down spike. So if it doesn't say trade down spike, make sure it's just a regular Ken grip spike. Another question that came up was the Insta trade down in the open division list. Now the question is, during the Insta, can I do a flip out of the Insta and then do a trade down spike? And the answer is no. We want to do it how it was done in the video, and we want to just do no flips, catch, and down. So no flips and then trade down spike. Another very common question that comes up is, can I do it inward instead of regular? Now, unless the trick specifically says inward, you must do it regular. Or if it says either way, that's okay. But if it just says whirlwind, we're asking for a regular old whirlwind, not an inward whirlwind. If it says inward jumping stick, we're asking for an inward jumping stick. If it says either way, then there you have it. You have your choice. While we were on the note of whirlwinds, the question also came up of, does the ball have to do a rotation to count as a whirlwind? The answer is no. As long as the tama comes off of the spike, you do a full Ken flip and you land the ball back on the spike, we are counting that as a whirlwind. Same thing goes for the downwards whirlwind. As long as the ball comes off the spike, you do a Ken flip and then spike it down. It's a whirlwind. So there you have it. There are the most frequently asked questions about the NAKO trick list. I hope this helps. We're going to be talking about this live at the event as well, but hopefully this prepares you for what to expect at the event so you're not caught off guard and you're able to practice with a little bit more efficiency leading up to the event. So happy practicing, and we're stoked to see you at NAKO.
What up, everybody? Thanks for checking out that video. If you like what you just watched, make sure you go hit that subscribe button and make sure you go punch that shop button and get yourself a new Dama. We have tons of other videos for you to watch, so make sure you go check them out. See you next time.